from Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut.
I'm Neil Grasso.
I'm Ashley Mims.
I'm Roberto Rojas.
I'm Priscilla Serrano.
I'm Monica Zakara.
I'm Eddie Rivera.
And this
is
The Pulse.
Hello and welcome. I'm Fazla Sungari and thank you for joining us. Given the circumstances of the coronavirus pandemic all over the world, we are still doing a show from the comfort of our homes. Our reporters have worked tremendously hard bringing stories to you while staying safe and confined. We are starting our show by talking about how the spread of the virus has elevated, posing drastic changes for many students. Many have had to readjust their lifestyle to adhere to measures imposed by the CDC and the World Health Organization. Here's Neil Grasso with the story.
The COVID-19 outbreak has affected everyone, regardless of age. This includes college students. As a college student myself at Sacred Heart University, I know that I've had to make adjustments to my personal life since the beginning of the crisis. I wanted to demonstrate some of these adjustments, as well as gain perspectives from other college students to see some of the adjustments they've been making since the beginning of the pandemic.
1 month ago, if you asked me what kind of segment I would be producing for this week's show, I could have never guessed it would be anything like this. At that time, I just finished producing a segment on the growing nature of the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. A mere 3 weeks later, the virus had taken the world by storm. Since then, the virus has elevated to the level of a nationwide pandemic here in the United States, and a lot has changed for college students like myself here in Bridgeport. My classes are now held via Zoom, and I take my seat at my desk at home. My work life doesn't look too much different, as I converse with clients and colleagues online, again, from my desk at home. Working out consists of following no equipment workout tutorials on my computer, which sits nicely on my desk at home. And for entertainment, I've been playing quite a lot of PS4, which rests ever so nicely on my...
Hey, I think they get it.
I am not alone in this lifestyle adjustment. Millions of Americans have been instructed to practice safe social distancing measures by institutions such as the Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization. I wanted to get feedback from other college students as to how they have been impacted by the spread of COVID-19, as the outbreak has posed both challenges and opportunities for the rising members of America's workforce. For some students, such as Caitlin Earls, a senior nursing major at Quinnipiac University, the coronavirus has provided unique opportunities to get a jumpstart on her professional career.
As hard as it's been to just leave college, this might be an opportunity for me because I worked at Memorial MSK this summer, and then they just reached out to me last week because they're bombarded with a bunch of COVID patients and a lot of the nurses that are on the floor having to go and switch to the ICU and ER just to help out. So they need a lot more hands up on regular floors. So they kind of gave me an opportunity to work there again before possibly trying to get hired as a registered nurse. But it's very scary because I do have to live at home. So it's very possible that I could get it even with a lot of the lack of PPE that's in the hospitals and just being near patients that have it. So it's hard to it was hard to decide if I should do it or not because I do live with my parents and I'll have to live at home and it possibly expose them, but I am going to work there and try to just like leave work clothes and home clothes, take a shower and hopefully hope for the best, but it is very scary, but it is a good opportunity as well.
Other students have had even worse experiences with the virus. One such student was Connor McLaughlin, a Sacred Heart University junior who tested positive for COVID-19 on March 20th.
So I was in my house and I was on the couch and I just started to develop this dry cough. And then I had like a mild persistent headache and I was just like, oh, it's probably just spring allergies. So I just took some allergy pills, figured it was nothing. And then the allergy pills proved ineffective. And later that night I started to develop chills. And then that night it was like 11 o'clock at night and the symptoms started to get worse. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to call, see if I can get a test just in case, for my parents' sake. So I called the on-call physician. They got back to me 45 minutes later. I told them my symptoms and they said, yeah, we're going to have you tested. Come to Norwood Hospital. But it was quick, easy. They had me go out a separate exit away from the nurses, away from everybody else. Called me back they said the test results would take 24 to 72 hours. And they called me back the next day like that. And they just, doctor told me I need to self-isolate for 14 days, and I've tested positive for COVID-19. I was terrified. I kind of just stayed in my room. I asked the doctor, I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm like, what about my parents? My mom has rheumatoid arthritis. My dad has mild emphysema. What can I do about them? What should they do? He's like, look, you just try to get them tested, and you just stay in your basement, self-isolate for 14 days. Everything will be all right.
After testing positive, McLaughlin was interviewed by both WCVB and NBC10. McLaughlin believes the majority of negative attention online came from the latter, as the NBC10 article seemed to insinuate that he had contracted the virus on spring break in Cancun, a trip that had taken place well before the COVID-19 crisis had spiked in the United States. The schools had across the country had been shut down for a week. There were still kids across the country going to spring break with the cases multiplying and businesses closing. So what do you have to say for kids that are still considering maybe going on these late spring break trips or going on vacation?
I keep saying the same thing to people when they say, oh, what do you have to say for those people that aren't social distancing at this point? It's the same thing. Don't be naive. Just look at just watch the news. You see these people's stories of how much they're struggling and their battle with the virus and whatnot, and just think that could be your parents or your grandparents or any of your family or friends, relatives, or your relatives, and you'd feel horrible if you knew that you could have been the one that gave them the virus.
Definitely.
So just think about others and don't think about yourself.
In Bridgeport, Connecticut, I'm Neil Grasso for The Pulse.
With the ongoing coronavirus crisis affecting the entire world, there are many other journalists out there that have also changed the ways that they do their own reporting. I spoke to a couple of them to get their side of the story.
Welcome to Unfiltered at Home. I'm Essie Cup.
It's clear that COVID-19 has affected the entire world as daily life has come to a complete halt, and that is the case especially in the media business. Whether it be on talk shows, general news programs, or even on radio, the way that journalism is shifting because of this crisis has allowed for people to become much more creative, but also change their styles, be it from their house or anywhere else. I spoke to 4 different journalists from 3 different locations and backgrounds to see how they've been handling their jobs since the start of the crisis.
Hi, my name is J.D. Allen. I'm the Assistant News Director at WSHU Public Radio.
My name is Nico Cantor. I'm a reporter/broadcaster for 2DN.
I'm Danny Jameson, and I work for Premier League Productions.
Hi, I'm Kate Mason. I'm a presenter for Sky Sports News.
JD is based out on Long Island, which holds a huge concentration of COVID-19 cases in the United States. Despite that, JD has been able to go strong from the comfort of his own home, overseeing many things for WSHU.
People are working from home. They need to deal with the distractions that are at home. Some of the pros are that I can attend a meeting just over the phone rather than having to go to a location or down to a conference room. It's funny that we start to talk about Zoom meetings so much, where you could be, professional on the top and relaxed on the bottom for everything that's out of frame.
Nico is based out of Miami, another huge hub of COVID-19 cases in the country, but also he has found that his work has been going very strong, even when the circumstances are different.
We've been trying to manage different type of scenarios. We're on rotation, the talent here at 2DN, so we'll work in the studio for a couple of days, 5 or 6 days, and then the new team will come in and so forth. Over the span of 3 weeks, basically, we're switching in and out, trying to minimize contact with everybody, and obviously keeping the measures that go along with the guidelines from the authorities.
Danny is based out in London, in England, which has seen about 90,000 cases in the UK alone, and while the disadvantages are noticeable, Danny says that it's allowed him to become much more creative.
So we usually also we have a studio set up near, it's just on the outskirts of London, so obviously we can't use that anymore. It took maybe a week for us to figure out exactly how we can best service the licensees around the world who take all of our shows. And we've ended up coming up with a lot of various different shows that we can make from home.
Also based out in London, Kate has been able to confine herself working at Sky Sports on most days, but acknowledges the advances in technology that have helped in different forms of media coverage, even when major events in the nation are happening one after the other over the last few years.
I think people are exhausted, really. I think, it's come off the back of Brexit, which is one of the biggest stories they probably thought they'd ever cover, and then the election, and then now there is a pandemic. So yeah, mainly I would say that this is exhaustive coverage. One thing that's been really cool about the last, however long it's been, 3 weeks, is that previously we would have always had to get guests into the studio to talk through issues, which is obviously brilliant to have people in studio, but actually it's pretty cool how people are now, using Zoom like this or using Skype to get guests that might have been much more difficult to bring their knowledge into the coverage.
In the end, while it'll be hard to figure out when this entire pandemic will end, it's safe to say that the creativity that these guys have, as do many other journalists around the world, are looking to tell their stories and to inform people at the same time. Reporting from Bridgeport, Connecticut, Roberto Rojas, The Pulse.
Besides journalists, all kinds of workers around the country have also been affected by having to transition to a working from home environment. I spoke to some of them to find out how this pandemic has affected their work life. Zoom, WebEx, and Microsoft Teams are among the apps that many workers have had to start using to effectively start working from home. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, thousands of Americans started working from home for the first time. And for people like Blaine Chetram, it all happened so fast.
Well, there really wasn't any transition at all. It was just planning to go to work on the Monday, got an email on Sunday saying don't come to work, and then make stuff happen at your home from working from home.
Although Blaine already had everything set up at his home, he also faced some challenges.
I would say the quarantine has made my job a tad bit more stressful, because it is a lot more work that we're doing from home as opposed to on campus. And we have a lack of physical resources to use in terms of personnel to reach out to. Sometimes the internet goes out. We have to rely on service from our phones to get stuff done as well. So technology could be spotty at times, which can make things a little difficult.
For Siobhan Nesick, someone who has already been working from home for a year, this experience has actually brought him closer to his colleagues.
Many of my team members do work out of different offices. We have one in Pittsburgh and another one in the Bay Area. And because they're now working from home, so we've arranged like what are like virtual happy hours. So I've had an opportunity to actually go and meet a lot of my peers that maybe otherwise hadn't really had a chance to get to know so well. So we dedicate about an hour a week. And then we added a couple other like work sessions where we can go and collaborate. So yeah, if anything, I've gotten maybe some better relationships out of this.
But not everyone can get all their work done from home. That's the case for barbershop owner Tian Quinn.
The core of my job is like it's completely upside down, and I'm not able to work really or generate revenue.
Tian opened her barbershop last June, and since the pandemic, she's had to find new ways to keep her business running.
Some of the other challenges is just figuring out, how to access funding for my business, and, making sure that we stay current with all of our bills, and, getting very creative with the money that we do have.
Now, whether it's your first time working from home or not, it's clear that the pandemic has brought new experiences for all of us, including myself, when I tried to put this story together. Reporting for The Pulse, I'm Priscilla Serrano.
The continuing growth of Sacred Heart University has produced an immense interest from students in the world of communications. As a result, Sacred Heart established a new School of Communication and Media Arts, simply known as SCMA. The school offers degrees on both a graduate and undergraduate level. Students have an opportunity to study public relations and corporate communications, film, television and media production, journalism, media literacy, and theater arts. The faculty includes renowned media professionals with real-world experience and academic prestige.
Classroom experience here is really hands-on. You're at the technical director's chair and getting to work with the switchboard. So I feel really confident going into an interview and being like, yes, I've sat at that chair, and yes, I've done that job, and I know how to work a teleprompter.
The production facilities include 2 television studios, 2 screening rooms, 6 post-production editing labs and multimedia classrooms, a radio station, media theater, and forum for events. Our students describe their experience as
exciting, contemporary,
artistic,
empowering,
and extraordinary.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shut down barbershops across the country. Now men have to look elsewhere for their facial upkeep. Being in lockdown this spring, it seems as if beards are growing faster than grass. Some men have never had to be self-dependent on making sure their beard is neat and healthy. I caught up with a local business owner who might have the answers to your manscaping questions. Teaneck, New Jersey is a township 5 miles out of New York City and home to roughly 40,000 people. As of recently, Teaneck is unfortunately home to one of the highest number of coronavirus cases in the state of New Jersey, despite only being the 54th most populous municipality in the state.
And Loretta lives in Teaneck, which we know has been one of the Bergen County communities most impacted by COVID-19. In fact, you could take Bergen County out of that statement. It's one of the communities that's been most impacted in this state, if not this country.
Teaneck is also home to Justice Callis, the founder of Healthy Bristles. A recent college grad, Callis has launched his beard and tips products company, Healthy Bristles, to promote beard health and advice. I caught up with him to discuss his recent business success.
So Justice, I know it's been a little while since I've seen you with everything going on. First and foremost, just want to see how you're doing, making sure your family's okay. And second, man, Healthy Bristles. Tell me what's going on. What got you started?
Healthy Bristles is crazy. It's a beard brand I created. And I just want, just build men, powerful men with confidence.
I want people to love themselves. I want men to love themselves. Because a lot of men out here don't really love who they are.
Now, a lot of men are looking towards other avenues than their local barbershops at a time like this. How has the coronavirus affected your business?
Actually, I'll be honest, coronavirus actually affected it very well. Because, like as you said in the question, that there's no barbershops open. Right. And many men don't know how to groom themselves. This is the perfect time for your beard to connect, the perfect time to grow it out, perfect time to make it healthy. And I think I've been having so many orders coming in my way, doing deliveries, shipments, everything. And from that point on, the virus has treated my business very well. I mean, everybody's liking it. Everybody wants to build their beard the same exact way. And I just appreciate the love.
Justice, at a time like this, being in self-quarantine in our respective homes, can't thank you enough for coming out and doing this interview.
Just want to say it's my pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me come out here.
Absolutely. Whenever it is time for shelter-in-place guidelines to be lifted, make sure your beard is in the best shape it can be in, literally and figuratively. Eddie Rivera for the Post Plus, Teaneck, New Jersey.
Are you bored at home? Are you running out of fun things to do during your quarantine? Well, that's no longer, because allow me to introduce you to the great sport of disc golf. Bored in quarantine? Need something to do? Well, let me introduce you to disc golf. Here at Veterans Memorial Park in Bridgeport, Connecticut, people have been coming to play disc golf for some quarantine-friendly fun. Like regular golf, a disc golf course has 18 holes, and instead of using a club to hit the ball in, you are throwing a disc into the goal, with any means necessary. However, this game is no walk in the park. Every hole has different distances, angles, and obstacles, which could turn an easy throw into a disaster. Or, sometimes, the trees can be your best friend. I got a chance to talk to one of the players on the course to ask why he was disc golfing during quarantine.
I'm doing disc golf because it gives me a chance to get out of the house. Since we're going through this quarantine right now, it's a new hobby. Ever since quarantine started, I started playing. This is only my third or fourth time playing. It's fun. Like I said, it gets me outdoors, some fresh air, and it's just something new to do.
If you are looking for a fun, quarantine-safe activity, come down to Veterans Memorial Park in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and play some disc golf. Reporting live in Bridgeport for The Pulse, this is Kendall Clark.
Woo!
The ESL program at Sacred Heart University is one of the most important language programs in Connecticut, which hosts many international students from all over the world to learn English.
Hello, my name is Alish Latte. I'm Academic Director of the English Language Institute. Now, English Language Institute has a long history here at Sacred Heart University, but in its present form, it exists for about 10 years. We're fully accredited by CAA, and presently we have students from 17 different countries all over the world. We have 6 levels in our program, all the way from beginner to the advanced levels. We have 4 classes: grammar, reading, writing, listening, speaking, and we can boast of fantastic, highly qualified English teachers.
Hello, my name is Maria Mercedes Boudisi.
My name is Ahmed Mhadid.
My name is Burak Tekiloglu.
My name is Matteo.
I'm from Argentina.
I'm from Saudi Arabia.
I am from Turkey.
I'm from Italy.
For more information, please visit the ESL program page on the Sacred Heart University website, www.sacredheart.edu.
One local woman is giving back in a major way. Starting her own nonprofit, the Now I Am Nia Foundation, on a pursuit of her own purpose, LaVon Roberson is sharing her story, hoping to be an inspiration, all while helping others on a pursuit of finding their own purpose. Take a look.
In October of 2015, Norwalk native LaVon Roberson was diagnosed with stage 2C ovarian cancer at the age of 34. In April of 2018, on her road to recovery, she experienced a cancer recurrence and was diagnosed with stage 4 endometrial cancer and was scheduled for an emergency hysterectomy. October 9th, 2018, just 3 years after her first diagnosis, LaVon was scheduled for what was her final day of chemo. This day, she'd ring the bell of hope, celebrating her second victory, one last time. She is a daughter, sister, friend, godmother, and most of all, an educator. Among all, she is a survivor. Turning her pain into her purpose, she created the Now I Am Nia Foundation. She invited me into her home to tell me all about it.
The Now I Am Nia Foundation started off as Now I Am Nia LLC. So I started an LLC last January 2019 because I started to put together this whole story of purpose and what purpose was to me, and I was trying to think of a way to, brand what had happened to me, right? Like really that's what it was. And I was trying to think of a name for it, and I was haunted really by the name Nia, because Nia is what I plan to name my daughter. And now that I was infertile, that was like the obvious name choice, because Nia meaning purpose and it being the name that I want to name my child kind of summed up everything that I wanted this business and brand to be. The mission that I have for the business is really to just inspire the pursuit of purpose and really to share my story and to support people who have been impacted by cancer.
The Now I Am Nia Foundation has created a number of different projects, including charity events that are intended to give back in some way, all while inspiring the pursuit of purpose.
Supporting people who are currently in treatment. And I'm also a teacher. I'm an educator. And so making sure that I had projects that supported children and children who have cancer. So that's how I started the Polka Dot Blanket Project. I've always had a blanket, and I've always had a polka dot blanket, and it goes everywhere I go. And really my blanket was a metaphor for God's covering for me. And I felt like if I could give blankets to other people, and pray for them, and it could be symbolic for them being covered and healed the way that I was.
Currently, she's drafting a children's book, and because of her own support system, love for children, coupled with her strong faith, has led her to believe that this is in fact her purpose and prepares to continue educating and helping others who are impacted. For more information, go to nowimnia.org or visit them on social media at nowimnia. Reporting from Norwalk, Connecticut, I'm Ashley Mims with The Pulse.
During quarantine, we've all been a little bored, trying to keep busy and learn some new things. For fun, I decided to make a little show about my cooking endeavors. It's called Munchies with Mons. The first episode featuring a classic favorite, ramen. Hope you enjoy! Hey guys, my name's Monica, and if you're like me, you love ramen. A true college kitchen staple that we all know and love so much. But it's time we switch up the game, because today we're taking regular old ramen and we are making it fancy ramen.
Today, we're making a fancy shrimp ramen, adding some luxury to these cheap noodles. Our ingredients? First, we'll chop up 1 mushroom, scallion. Now, time to make a sauce from scratch. 1 cup of chicken stock, then we need some sugar for sweetness, fish sauce, soy sauce, and a little sriracha to kick it up. If you have sesame oil on hand, add it in. Mix, 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 mix. Now we're going to make a foil envelope. This is going to hold everything together. Be super careful with the foil, because if you break it, the liquids will leak out and our noodles won't cook. Pour in that homemade soup and wrap it up. Time to cook it. Oh yeah, look at our own vamped up shrimp ramen. No packet needed.
We gotta slurp it. That's good.
Whoa, you thought we were done? Ooh, yeah, look at that dreamy carbonara. 7 simple ingredients. First step, we're gonna fry up some bacon and make it crispy. Set aside, but keep that delicious bacon fat. And then we're gonna add more fat, aka butter. Add a cup of heavy cream. Add those noodles, oodles of noodles. Did someone say cheese? Yes, please. Turn off your heat and add the egg. If your noodles are looking a little dry, just add some water. Bacon goes back in. Pepper.
And now for my favorite part. Let's dig in. I'm actually really surprised how this one came out. This is really, really good. It's super crispy with the bacon and cheesy.
Thanks for tuning in. Monica Zakara with The Pulse.
And that's all for tonight's show. From all of us at The Pulse, we hope you're doing well and staying home to keep your loved ones safe, as this virus has become the great equalizer. I'm Fata Sungari for The Pulse and want to leave you all with a little awareness message for all of you and the shoe community.
Hello everyone. Be safe and stay healthy.
Stay safe and healthy.
Stay safe and healthy.
Stay safe and stay healthy.
Stay home.
Stay home.
Buongiorno a tutti, state al sicuro e state in salute.
Bądź bezpieczny i zdrowy.
Hola a todos, soy Roberto Rojas. Solamente quería enviar un mensaje a todos para estar seguros y estar sanos también.
Quédate en casa.
ابقوا في بيوتكم.